noticing, and not many people look at the YouTube channel at all, but when I make a title that it catches more people. When I just write like, oh, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9 or this like that, many people are not as interested. So it would be in my best interest to have a title.
Do with keywords also, like what keywords people search and like what's the ranking. So like not a lot of people would be like searching that, and something like you'll be searching, and if you put that as your title, then
Yes.
it pops
So
up.
someone has to start giving me some titles because I can't think of them all on the spot.
And tag.
What?
Tag.
I'm not so social media savvy like this. You guys will have to help me. So if you guys remember, last time we talked, Bhishma, he spoke on all types of different dharmas and pacified Yudhisthira. But now he was showing the ultimate dharma. The ultimate dharma is how to leave this world, how to graduate from this type of existence, this material world. And so he fully and wholly and solely focuses attention onto Krishna at that time. He is so fortunate that Krishna appeared before him at the time of passing. So now he withdrew his mind from everything else. My wife is saying I have to talk louder. He withdrew his mind. Here, how about that? Is that better? He withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who stood before him, four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. So this is kind of an epic now focus. He's ready. We all have to leave this world. What will we focus on? Will we think of the things of this world again? Oh, my wife, my kids, my memories, my business, this, that, and the other thing. And actually, it was concluding in the purport. Prabhupada was giving the teaching in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna talks about how one gets their next existence. That what you focus on at death is what drives your consciousness forward. Nature, Krishna himself, will arrange it so that, okay, this is what you wanted to focus on. You'll have to get some type of existence to fulfill your desire. Actually, our life is a result of our karma. Karma is due to our desires. What did we desire in this lifetime? So due to our certain level of desires, we went into a family that met our needs, our desires. It's not like we chose, it's not like we had like a selection screen. Oh, let me screen my parent. No, it's just Krishna's perfect arrangement. Okay, this is your consciousness. You'll do perfect here. And that was the family everyone gets. So now, though, the devotee is above the ordinary consciousness. They're not, they're seeing the many faults of this world, focusing on the things of this world. They're seeing the many faults of focusing on, worldly things, family, this, that, and the other, wife, kids, the rest. And seeing that, no, this is how I keep coming back and back. I don't desire this thing anymore. But what do they ultimately desire? Bhishma is exemplifying. He's focusing wholly and solely on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what one should ultimately desire. And so, he's gazing at Krishna, and that's where we're at. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Shh. And that means
Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very Narayana unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning and
Jai. Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Radyantastoya Badrani Vidhunoti Sahitsatam. Okay, let's hear it. One of you boys. Sri Krishna is the Paramatma, the super soul in the heart of each living entity. And the benefactor, the truthful devotee, cleanses the heart of material desire of the devotee, who's developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So let's hear Krishna's messages via him and his devotees. Nashta prayeshu badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
A regular attendance on classes on the Bhagavatam by regular service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Right. So, all right. So all of our troubles can be destroyed, and we can have divine love instead, which should be attractive to the more intelligent class of people. In this age and world, most people are actually less intelligent, as dictated by many. But ultimately, Srila Prabhupada and Krishna conclude this is the nature of Kali Yuga. People get less intelligent. But for the devotee, we should try and use our intelligence in yoga, Buddhi yoga. And that's beginning the bhakti yoga processes. Starting from Naishkama Karma yoga, not working towards the fruits, working out of duty and offering the result unto the Lord. And then up to Jnana Yoga, developing the proper knowledge and understanding the relationship between you, who you really are, what is matter, what is spirit, who the Lord is, how we're being implicated in this world through karma, and how time is moving everything. And then eventually you'll come to bhakti. The topmost activity and the topmost knowledge is all devotion unto the Supreme Lord. So we're all doing to some degree. We should do more. But now let's hear the culmination of all of Bhishma's works and offerings now in this part of the Bhagavatam. Vishuddhaya dharanaya hatha shubhas Tarik Shayaiva Shugata Yudha Shrama Nivrita Sarvendriya Vritti Vibhrama Tushtava Janyam Visrijan Janardanam Vishuddhaya, by purified, Dharanaya, meditation, Hatha Ashubha, one who has minimized the inauspicious qualities of material existence. Tat, him, Ikshaya, by looking on. Eva, simply. Ashu, immediately. Gata, having gone away. Yudha, from the arrows. Shrama, fatigue. Nivrita, being stopped. Sarva, all. Indriya, senses. Vritti, activities. Vibhrama, being widely engaged. Tushtava, he prayed. Janyam, the material tabernacle. Visrajan, while quitting. Janardanam, to the controller of the living beings. I have to look up what a tabernacle is. I think it's kind of like a
tent.
Yes, that's right, the tabernacle at the church. But I still have to see what Google Acharya says. It's a place of worship and a temporary dwelling, like a tent. So this is our temporary dwelling, the material tabernacle. So the translation is, by pure meditation, looking at Lord Sri Krishna, he at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness and was relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus all the external activities of his senses at once stopped, and he prayed transcendentally to the controller of all living beings while quitting his material body. So this is it. And we'll hear the purport by Srila Prabhupada. The material body is a gift of the material energy, technically called illusion. Identification with the material body is due to forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with the Lord. For a pure devotee of the Lord like Bhishmadev, the illusion was at once removed as soon as the Lord arrived. Lord Krishna is like the sun, and the illusory external material energy is like darkness. In the presence of the sun, there is no possibility that darkness can stand. Therefore, just on the arrival of Lord Krishna, all material contamination was completely removed, and Bhishmadev was thus able to be transcendentally situated by stopping the activities of the impure senses in collaboration with matter. The soul is originally pure, and so also the senses. By material contamination, the senses assume the role of imperfection and impurity. By revival of contact with the Supreme Pure, Lord Krishna, the senses again become freed from material contaminations. Bhishmadev attained all these transcendental conditions prior to his leaving the material body because of the presence of the Lord. The Lord is the controller and the benefactor of all living beings. That is the verdict of all Vedas. So everyone's working benefactor. So he's the one who's going to benefit. Everyone is working ultimately as part of the Lord's plan. Either you know it or you don't. And those in illusion, they don't know it, and they don't realize they're working the Lord's backwards energy, or the illusory energy, helping perpetuate deeper levels of illusion. But ultimately what happens is it'll be realized, oh, that's not what I thought it was. And then we suffer over and over again. So he's ultimately, everything should be done willingly for him, because he's the ultimate benefactor anyway, whether you act in illusion or not. So that is the verdict of all Vedas. He is the supreme eternity and living entity amongst all the eternal living beings. Nityo nityanam chetanash chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman tamatmastam ye nupashyanti dhiras tesham shanti shashvati ne taresham. This is the Katha Upanishad. And he alone provides all necessities for all kinds of living beings. Thus he provided all facilities to fulfill the transcendental desires of his great devotee Sri Bhishmadev, who began to pray as follows. So, it's official, well, before I say anything. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Slapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishak Hanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. So my obeisances to our lineage of teachers from which the flow of mercy is entering, and we can potentially for ourselves experience that mercy. And before I speak, I need their mercy so I don't say something that will, instead of delivering mercy to you or others, will actually act as the other part of the energy and further bewilder you guys. So that's my prayer. We see here Bhishma is quitting his body. He's fully focused. His external senses have stopped, and now he's fully transcendentally focused on Krishna. And this is ultimately all bodily pains are now gone. All the external activities of the senses stopped. All material inauspiciousness is now over, done for him. So this is actually very nice. Even ourselves, if we could somehow really focus on Krishna, this would also happen for us. But yeah, it's a process. We're kind of running through the motions and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, learning, doing some sadhana, so that one day we can actually do bhajan. Bhajan is like actual worship. But right now we're just practicing, like that's what sadhana is. It's a practice. So that maybe one day Krishna will actually accept your worship. Or you'll even one day even want to worship him. That's a thing. Anyway, that's the process. So let's hear from Bhishma. Shri Bhishma Vacha Iti Matir Upakalpita Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumni Swasukhamupagate Kvachid Vihartum Prakriti Mupe Yushi Yadbhava Pravaha. I wonder if there was a better way to chant that because it sounded awkward. Shri Bhishma Vacha. Shri Bhishma Dev said, Iti, thus, Mati, thinking, feeling, and willing. Upakalpita, invested. Vitrishna, freed from all sense desires. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Satvata Pungave, unto the leader of the devotees. Vibhumni, unto the great. Swasukam, self-satisfaction. Upagate, unto he who has attained it. Kvachit, sometimes. Vihartum, out of transcendental pleasure. Prakritim, in the material world. Upayushi, do accept it. Yat bhava, from whom the creation. Pravaha, is made and annihilated. Bhishmadev said, let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending on the material world, although from him only the material world is created. And Prabhupada will say, because Bhishma Dev was a statesman, the head of the Kuru dynasty, a great general and a leader of Kshatriyas, his mind was strewn over so many subjects, and his thinking, feeling, and willing were engaged in different matters. I even feel like that, I want to sit and I want to do my chanting, but oh my gosh, how am I going to handle this financial issue here? How am I going to handle the logistics of this situation? How am I going to handle this, that, and the other thing? And ultimately, the consciousness is rattled and disturbed, and so many of you maybe are feeling similar things. You're sitting and chanting, but then, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about my job situation? What am I going to do about this? I have so much work at the lab. I have so much, what am I going to do with my life? So many things. What is actually... So, but ultimately, Bhishma is ready now, and you have to kind of do it a little bit in the world, and just to maintain yourself. There's so much work, and there's so much things just to maintain. What's to speak of fulfilled desires? So, yeah, so naturally he was all over the place. Not all over the place, he was a great soul, but they were engaged in different matters. Now, in order to achieve pure devotional service, he wanted to invest all powers of thinking, feeling, and willing entirely in the Supreme Being, Lord Krishna. He is described herein as the leader of the devotees and all-powerful. Although Lord Krishna is the original, personality of Godhead, he himself descends on earth to bestow upon his pure devotees the boon of devotional service. He descends sometimes as Lord Krishna, as he is, and sometimes as Lord Chaitanya. Both are leaders of the pure devotees. Pure devotees of the Lord have no desire other than the service of the Lord, and therefore they are called sattvata. The Lord is the chief amongst such sattvatas. Bhishmadev therefore had no other desires. So this is ultimately the Lord's position. He is especially the leader of the devotees, and the devotees are always looking towards the Lord. Unless one is purified from all sorts of material desires, the Lord does not become one's leader. Desires cannot be wiped out, but they have only to be purified. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself that he gives his instruction from within the heart of a pure devotee who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Such instruction is given not for any material purpose, but only for going back home, back to Godhead, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 10:10. That's Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Pritipurvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mamupi Antite. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they come to me. They can come to me. So it's like a secret science. If you worship the Lord with genuine love and affection, he'll give you secret realization that you can't acquire on your own. It's impossible. But if you can try your best, I'll try this avenue, I'll study this thing, I'll study that, but if it's not out of real love and devotion, then it's futile. So this is actually, it's like a perfect, like a vault, it's like the perfect code to enter to get into the vault. And the only way you can do it is like maybe they have some finger scanner, you need some secret access. The only way you can have the access is pure love and devotion. Anything else, you'll not get into the vault. You won't achieve the Lord this way. So it's impossible. Love is the only thing, but actually it's very difficult. I mean, we're coming from such a place of envy and competition and such a low place filled with fear and illusion and anxiety, and so to actually get to the platform of love, you have to somehow or other receive the mercy on someone who has love, and love can, just like in the presence of the sun, the presence of Krishna, all darkness is wiped away. If Krishna really wants to bestow his mercy upon you, and how does he do it? He does it through his pure devotee. All those dark qualities will go, but if the dark qualities have not gone, we should understand Krishna has not revealed himself to us as of yet. So this is, we should really do a good self-analysis. And this morning when I was chanting, I was quite disturbed with just things that are left in the consciousness that I would like them not to be there. But it's part of but it's part of the work. You just say, oh, why am I feeling like this? Why is this thing coming? It's very deep a process here. So, but maybe one day you'll actually get a being of love will actually show you the process of love. Not easy though, very rare to come across these pure devotees, as we were talking about in Bhagavad Gita yesterday. It's so exceedingly rare. Out of millions upon millions of people, I was hearing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy were discussing, and millions upon millions of people, only one devotee of the Lord, pure devotee of the Lord. So you never know. So it's really by the Lord's grace. But if you want it, if you genuinely want it, he will reveal it. But do you genuinely want it? That's the other thing. We have so many desires. And it's said here, if you have any other desires, you're not eligible for the devotional service of the Lord. But if you desire the devotional service of the Lord and the Lord himself, then you become eligible. and the mercy will become to you. But if we have desire for lady, if we have desire for money, if we have desire for this, that, and the other thing, you'll get that thing instead, which is fine, but it's not the Lord, that's for sure. It's like you're getting broken glass instead of like jewels, precious jewels. So anyway, for the ordinary man who wants to lord it over material nature, the Lord not only sanctions and becomes a witness of activities, but he never gives the non-devotee instructions for going back to Godhead. That is the difference in dealings by the Lord with different living beings, both the devotee and the non-devotee. He is leader of all the living beings, as the king of the state rules both the prisoners and the free citizens. But his dealings are different in terms of devotee and non-devotee. Non-devotees never care to take any instruction from the Lord, and therefore the Lord is silent in their case. Although he witnesses all their activities and awards them the necessary results, good or bad, or the Lord is silent in their case, although he witnesses all their activities, awards them the necessary results, good or bad. The devotees are above this material goodness and badness. They are progressive on the path of transcendence, and therefore they have no desire for anything material. The devotee also knows Sri Krishna is the original Narayan, because Lord Sri Krishna, by his plenary portion, or his absolute expansion, you could say, appears as the Karnodakshai Vishnu, the original source of all material creation. The Lord also desires the association of his pure devotees, and for them only the Lord descends on the earth and enlivens them. The Lord appears out of his own will. He is not forced by the conditions of material nature. He is therefore described as the Vibhu, or the Almighty, for he is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. That was a good purport. And remember, Bhishma was saying, he is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending on the material world, although from him only the material world is created. So that's why he comes. He's coming for the devotee. And if you want him to come in your life, you become a devotee. But if you want him to just come and fulfill some desire, no problem. He won't come, but he'll fulfill that desire. But you'll have a I don't want to say, like, not a nice word, but kind of like a pathetic existence. That's what we'll have if we just pray for broken glass, and, oh yes, here's some broken glass, and you're like, yay, my lady, or my job, or my this, or my that. But it's like a pig being very happy and rolling in stool, It's nothing in comparison to transcendental existence with the Lord. And any sane person will eventually realize these things. But those of us who have not yet been blessed with sanity, yet cultivated our intelligence through yoga, or this Buddha yoga process, no chance at being able to desire anything that's for our ultimate well-being. But anyhow, I think I'll stop there. Maybe we have time. Do you have a question or discussion point? You go ahead, Tanmay.
Prabhupada, if there are like desires, I cannot just completely shut it off. Then that will be like fake bhakti.
Yes.
It will be just like
He said in the purport,
So
you can't stop desires.
That is
So what do you do?
I feel the way you say whatever the desires are, how can all the things be used progressively towards your bhakti, and how you can constantly keep moving towards the progression of that. I feel but if it's like a spring. If you try to shut any emotions, or you try to shut any desire, it will just bounce back a lot.
So this is why Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he's given progressive stages of bhakti. And he said, bhakti is the best. But if you don't know how to do bhakti, and if you have never met anyone on that platform, There's stages on what you can do, and the number one thing anyone can enter is everyone has karma, activities that they do. So let's see. You guys are student life right now. You're actually getting education. Here, you're actually sitting and attending classes regularly. So this is the phase. You're still in student life. Krishna hasn't released you from student life yet. So you're offering that your time and your studies to Krishna to some degree, and this is good. And it will become eventually a pure bhakti. It could, if Krishna so wills it and desires it. But right now it's kind of like the beginning part of bhakti. Bhakti is there, but there's also other desires are there. You probably think like, all right, if I keep doing this, Krishna will eventually get me on to the next stage and take care of my problems, like maybe my debts or my situation or this, that, and the other thing. But ultimately, if you learn the actual art, the secret, it's pure bhakti, then you'll be very eager. Wow, look at what I get to do every day. We get to do these processes. But you're right. You cannot just stop desires. But we have to learn to dovetail our desires to things that will actually lead towards the good thing. So the Naishkama Karma Yoga means that you're not working for fruits. And it says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those who work for the fruits of their labor are misers. So how does that sound for anyone? Do you want to be a miser? What do you think, Michael? No, don't be a miser. Why? Because misers are always trying to get the result at the end. Krishna says you're entitled to your work, your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of your work. So if you're working for fruits and you say, oh, well, Prabhu, I have to get this amount of money, I have to get this, yes, maybe it's a duty to cover a few debts or to do your duty and maintain yourself, no problem. But actually, you're not entitled to that. You just do your duty. And Krishna will sanction what is available for your use. But ultimately, what do you do with the fruits that you do get? What's the Buddha yoga process? Offer it to Krishna. That's right. Let's just say now you guys are going to go into the working world. There's no way around it. Unless you go back to India, then maybe you have a different option. But you'll go into the American workforce. And so basically what you can do, there's a few things you can do. You have to do the duties in the American workforce, and they'll be strict, as to what you do, and you do it. But then after it's all said and done, how do you feel nourishment, or how can you even feel good about it? You have to somehow offer the fruit to Krishna, and so that you can actually think of Krishna while you do that work and be like, I'm offering this to Krishna. This is a good thing. I'm not further entangling myself in the material world. So you take that, maybe there's some money, and so some portion, I'll help these nice devotees over here. And then you're doing something. You maintain yourself, you live, maybe you maintain a little bit of savings for yourself too, that you can keep maintaining into the future. But ultimately, support devotee. Or not just any devotee, but, especially those that are very dear to you, something like this. But any devotional activity that you can. And this is the beginning process. And then eventually, if you get very trained up in doing that, like many people might say, oh, well, your wife and yourself, you're fortunate, you guys are doing pure bhakti. No, we're not. no, we're not. We're sitting here, we have a relationship. We got, part of the reason I got here somehow is because I got into a relationship with my wife, not exactly knowing what the entails of the Grahastha ashram was. And then I was realizing, oh my gosh, she needs a maintenance, she needs this, she needs that, she needs this. So how can we do this? I still want to practice bhakti and all this. And somehow or other, this arrangement with the house and the Airbnb and everything manifested. Maybe, I don't know how or why, but Krishna had arranged it. But it was so I can offer that work and those duties back to Krishna. And that's what this is. This is an extension of kind of, Maybe one day I'll actually do, pure bhakti. That would be really nice. But right now it's Naishkama karma yoga as well. I get up every day. We have to worship the deities. Okay, we have to do this. We should have Bhagavatam. Students, what is going to make a place? People even wanting to come. All these things. So we're trying to offer it to Krishna. Now I will admit it is a far more bhakti-rich lifestyle than anything else I had ever approached to this point. But it's still not pure bhakti. It's still the process to get to pure bhakti. And as we've been doing this, I've seen the growth towards pure bhakti has come, but not. But it's still. So you're going to have to also find what is your actual duty. How can I offer this thing to Krishna? So right now you guys are doing that to some degree. You guys are doing seva. You're living here. You're attending programs. You're hearing all these things. So you keep doing like that. And then eventually Krishna will manifest something. You wouldn't even have. You might not even have to send one application, and Krishna could manifest. You never know how. I didn't put an application to get here. Actually, Krishna sent Keshava Gopal and Karuna to visit us in the Carolinas, where we were taking care of cows on a farm, and they told us to come to Syracuse. And we didn't laugh at them, but we were like, no, definitely not. It's cold there. It's definitely not interested in bhakti up there. Because we had more material considerations. But actually then Krishna put us into all kinds of trouble. And then we were like, I think this is the best shot we got right now. And then we came here, and actually this became, I just put in a 15-year investment in this house to be here in the long term, and minimum on the contract is that we're here for 5 years, lest I waste a good amount of money getting out of the contract. But that's not mortgage semantics. But anyway, that's but you never know how it's gonna play out. But you're not entitled to the fruits and in controlling the fruits. You're just entitled to do your duty. You do it for the Lord, and then everything else will work out as you need. But actually do it for the Lord. Offer something to the Lord. We got here, when we first got here, it was just a bunch of college students living in this house, and we ran some Airbnbs, and our job was to try and start some bhakti yoga programs. And some of you used to come. You guys used to come. And it was, quite frankly, at some point, it was just terrible to have all these materialistic people around, and but you know what? We knew, okay. And it helped purify us, and as we purified, then the environment around us purified, and more, and it became purer and purer. And now it's kind of a much better situation. But yeah, this will happen for you. You just take what it is you're doing right now, whether you're pushing carts at BJ's, or doing your PhD, or looking for what is available, in between student life and working life. But you offer whatever time and energy that you can spare to Krishna. And resources too. Whatever you have, give it to Krishna. A lot of you guys are good at this. Even you boys are so young, and because of your situation, it's not like you have much money, or anything. But I see even still you're offering, and that's very good. We ourselves just put everything that we ever accumulated into this project for Krishna. And so that's the process as I know it. And then eventually Krishna will arrange. You might have all kinds of desires right now. Oh, I can't stop my desires. Fine. You desire a wife? No problem. It's a big responsibility, but you desire a wife, she will, if you're desiring, let's say, all kinds of illicit activities, let's say, I don't know, I want to go hire some prostitutes on the weekend or something like this. Get a wife, no problem. Just get a wife, not that equating a wife to a prostitute, but you clearly have some lusty desires. So the wife will be the medium from which you can work out your lusty desires. And then eventually, through having a wife and serving properly together and offering everything you do together for Krishna, it'll purify you of the lusty desires. Actually, ask any older couple how are you still as romantic as you used to be when you were younger? At least on the physical level, the lusty level, no. There's definitely, it always, it's a natural circumstance to purify that thing. But yeah, and then having children, that does it as well. And now you have duties to them, and you can offer their activities and duties to Krishna, and it purifies you more and more and more. And then my hope is one day I actually get to do pure bhakti, and I'll feel all these things. So, when we were reading last night in the bhajan, when will tears come to my eyes calling Gauranga's name, or when chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? When will this actually happen? But, where does Bhagavad Gita start us? At like step one, okay, what is my karma? What is my activities? Let me offer that to Krishna, to whatever best way I can. There's some bhakti there because you have faith in the Lord and you have faith in Krishna. But what's that? Baby bhakti. So it's mixed with material desires still. No problem. He's got a plan for this. And then over time, pure bhakti, anyone can achieve. You guys can all be very much more advanced than I am. That was one thing I was realizing today. Even many of you, even Michael and Parth, found Krishna before I did in this life. Michael, as a young little baby, his dad was giving him some Krishna.
Timing can do anything with that.
What's that?
I don't think so. Timing has to do anything to do with that.
Oh, it's not too much, but it in one sense.
No, it doesn't matter. It's like in the moment you can find Krishna, you can spend your whole life, you will not see a glimpse of it.
There's also like.
Well, Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, like we read yesterday, that where you end up in the last life, that will take you to the next life. So if Parth and Michael, if they left off somewhere in the last life, then it would make sense in this life they were given a little taste of Krishna. And in me myself, in this life, it took me somehow or other, when I did find Krishna, it became very natural.
It's going to be very difficult because you are much focus on others than yourself.
Well, yeah, but you can appreciate. You can just say,
It's more comparative thing from like what I can get. It's not more like
yeah.
I don't think it's very helpful in any case.
Yeah.
For devotion, it's a very personal thing, and we compare.
Yeah, we're not trying to compete. We're not trying to compare. But we can.
See where others are at sometimes for your own.
Well, it's helpful. It's helpful to know and also to appreciate. Like I can sit here in my position and be like, oh, I'm the teacher. I'm the But then when I might actually look down. I mean, you guys are born in Bharatavarsha. Michael was born with knowledge of Krishna. I'm probably the least advanced in the room, So this is, this is actually, it's helpful for me to stay humble, actually, to realize, I don't know how I even got some bhakti in this life, but yeah, you guys also have it, Piyush is born in a holy place. In a Brahminical family, practicing the Vedic wisdom. Tanmay, I'm not so sure of your lineage as much, but even Parth,
Not like atheist, but like father used to take a lot of all this stuff, and I used to be like, no, I don't want to read anything. Go away.
No problem. But you somehow or other you've taken it at this point of your life. And Parth, like I said, he met the devotees before I did, and he was practicing before I did, and Michael was as well. He had faith in Krishna as a little baby, So this is, this is a genuine realization of mine that I don't know who I'm so-called teaching here,
But I think it can also be like what Piyush is saying. It can also be like you might be with Krishna, but there's a lot of learning that there's a lot of like anarthas, as you're saying. We might be with Krishna, but then like what he means by time, as far as I understood, is like you might be doing it, but like it might be much on a surface level, but on an internal level there's such much more things
Sure.
that all of us need to like in different aspects.
Yes.
Very
That's
personal.
where we're all at.
Meaning.
Yeah, it's not like so blanket. Oh well,
zero and
Even there might be some. I mean, in this lifetime, it would be hard to say, but it's not so valuable to try and like compare. Oh well, he's been practicing for 40 years, and he's been practicing for 2 years. But actually, you might find like, oh wow, look, this person who's practicing a shorter time seems to be getting a lot more of the process than someone practicing for 50, 60 years. But there's levels of practice and who goes through the anarthas, which are the obstacles to genuine bhakti. So we also have to consider that the person who takes it so quickly, boom, they're they're on fire. They probably they've made that advancement through the anartha process in a past existence. So just for whatever reason, they needed to be restarted in this. So you don't know. You can't really know. But at the same time, it helps for humility to realize, you don't even know if I were to run into Michael's father at the store or something. I never, I just like, just a regular guy in the material world. But you never know. Oh wow, this person has love for Krishna. You never know who is who. Anyway, whatever you've got, offer it to Krishna, and eventually, maybe like Bhishma, you can leave this world wholly and solely, not focused on anything else. So anyway, Hare Krishna.